Oh, no chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just had like 30 minutes, but she told me the story. I'm like, no, you have to be part of it. And says you are like the perfect example. So please, like, keep spreading the words about Austin. So we'll definitely want to have you involved. And then on business opportunities, I think there are also opportunities to target some of the big companies here. So I think Dell, I want to introduce Speachme to Dell.
Okay.
I mean, we are here in Austin, we have a big presence, and I think this tool will be, I'm actually a big fan. Just looking at it, I need to play with it now, but
awesome.
I think you guys have something unique. So
yeah, no, it's good. Actually, we went to CES, and we were part of Illiquid, their booth. And they had like 4 startups with them, and we were like in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Just the reception, feedback, and everything. It was great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes. I'm glad.
And then they sent me to to do a speech like this at something else. It was like in the Paris casino, and I went in to the breakout room, and everyone was speaking French. The presentation was supposed to be in French, and I was like,
guys, you have to understand and just listen to me in English. That's fine, it's kind of forcing them to learn.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. So the way we are going to do it, I'll do a quick introduction on what is French Tech, talk about also our little chamber of commerce, and then Christophe Lavigne is going to talk about his experience here.
Okay.
And then I will have like 4 startups talking about their businesses, and I keep you for the last, so we'll probably like 10 minutes each, probably, I would say at 7 you will be the one presenting, or maybe before. And then I just want to have people networking and having some discussion. That's more or less the goal of today.
Okay.
Education and then networking.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
T'es étudiant, tu travailles ici, je travaillais ici. Je pense que je reviens How did you hear about this? Okay.
It's based out of Phoenix, Arizona. It's 4 years old. Basically, they have 500 metropolitan areas around the world. You promote businesses to
Interesting.
different areas. Thank you.
it has become mostly text. So easy to research and easy to. I try to do due diligence on the merits of the company before I make an introduction. I do have one time section film. How about the transfer in the movie business? Now that you've retired, you want to become a movie hour. Right? But it doesn't know much about the film industry. That's how funny. He says, all he has is money. And the more that it'll be a big shot. So I'm trying to help you. That's a little
Where would you like to sit?
Les deux chefs, c'est pas toi et moi. Mais il y a Christophe qui va introduire un peu
Je viens.
C'est comme un incubateur.
Je savais pas qu'il y avait la fin de avec
Disons, on est en train de soumis le dossier, donc c'était pas attribué en dehors de Rabel, c'est en cours. Oui, ça fait.
Tu as le speaker.
Ouais.
Tu as des speakers. Bonjour Christophe. Vous êtes parents? Ah, c'est mon fils. Un petit peu.
Oui, alors moi je change.
Ah, ok.
Okay guys, please have a seat. We'll start in a second. More people outside.
Vous êtes combien? On est 40. 40 en un an. C'est beaucoup. Ouais.
Okay, we are going to get started, so please have a seat. Just 2 minutes. Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know it was not easy for many of us to come here with traffic, babysitting and other, other constraints today. What I'd like to do, this is our first event of the day for the French Tech. So I want to give you an idea of what is French Tech. So I'm going to spend a few minutes to tell you about the background, what does it mean, French Tech for us here in Austin and also in France. So I'll spend a few minutes to do this. And then we'll have Christophe Lavigne sharing with us, his story. So I think that's the goal today, is to have the entrepreneur explaining, why Austin and also, all the challenges that they face in this journey. So we have a great example with Christophe, and we have also a few startups that are going to share their experience today. So let me just start with French Tech and what French Tech is. So a few years ago, the French government started this initiative called French Tech. And the goal was to promote the startup ecosystem in France, but also abroad. And it was not necessarily allocating money to build incubators and other things, but it was more to get people together. You have startups that are already trying to build businesses, you have some investors, you have some incubators, you have universities, engineers. The goal was really to get them together to foster innovation. So when it started 3 years ago, it was initially in France, and they started to have those different hubs where they even have some theme around, for instance, IoT or artificial intelligence and so on. And some of those cities started to get their startups, their investors together, and universities. And then the goal was to also grow and look at ecosystems outside France. And the goal was to look at all those French entrepreneurs that are in big cities outside France that are also trying to build their ecosystem. And the French government created this label called French Tech, and they more or less assigned this label to the cities that can demonstrate a good startup ecosystem. As you can see on this list, there is Austin, that is one of the candidates to become one of those hubs for startups. We believe Austin is a great place for startups. I think we are all convinced that this is a great place. We've seen surveys showing that it's one of the top places in United States for startups. And now we also have French entrepreneurs coming to Austin. The goal of French Tech is to promote French entrepreneurs to expand and to go abroad, to grow their businesses, like coming in United States. But there are also opportunities for US startups that want to grow their businesses in Europe to use France as a landing spot. And what's happening right now in France, they're also trying to promote France, and they have some programs that they are putting in place to also help companies to look at opportunities to start or grow their businesses in France. They're actually giving money to some entrepreneurs. They're also helping them to get permit to stay in France and so on. So I think there are also opportunities. If you have a business that you believe can grow in France and in Europe, you can actually use French Tech to get access to this market. So what's happening for us here in Austin, when we started French Tech a year and a half ago, the goal was really to start understanding what is the ecosystem here, who are the French entrepreneurs, how can we start getting them together, and how can we use the other stakeholders here in Austin to start growing this ecosystem. We've been having discussion with Capital Factory, Tank Ranch, other incubators who are working also with the Chamber of Commerce to promote Austin abroad and especially in France. We did several events last year during South by Southwest. We had some startups coming here from France, and we actually showed them the opportunities to be here in Austin. We also had the delegation of startups from Montpellier, a city in the south of France. 10 startups came here, and we showed them the ecosystem, and they were amazed by Austin. So I think everybody think about New York, San Francisco, the Silicon Valley, but they don't really think about Austin. Why Texas and why Austin? But it's actually a great place for startups. Smaller community, and there is really a lot of things to learn from this ecosystem for them. So what we also did last year we had some event in Paris when we did this promotion. We are trying to educate people about Austin. And this year at South by Southwest, we'll be doing another event with startups coming from France. So I don't want to spend too much time to talk about the things that we did in the past. What I want to do today is talk about the future and what we are planning to do. Our goal is to start having those events on a regular basis where we can get entrepreneurs and people from this ecosystem so we can exchange and share best practices. So what I want to do, I want to start with a good success story and have Christophe Lavigne sharing his story here in Austin, and Dana from FABCA, the French-American Business Council of Austin, will also help drive this discussion. And when we are done with Christophe, we will also have some, with your presentation, we'll have some other startups sharing their story. So Christophe, please join us and please share your story. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming. So about a little over 10 years ago, I had an ex-colleague that I worked with for a large orthopedics company that called me up and said, Dana, you speak French, and said, I'd like you to see whether you might not be able to come and have dinner with, they had started a small venture capital firm here in Austin, and they said, I'd like you to come and meet Christophe Lavigne and his wife. Her families are going to be moving to Austin, Texas, and working with us here to build this company in the U.S. market. So I went, and we went and had dinner and got to know each other a little bit. And over the next 2 years, I actually worked as an independent sort of contractor or consultant and some marketing efforts and programs, rebranding the LDR corporate identity, and then ultimately, after about 2 years, was offered the job of marketing director for LDR Spine here in the U.S. For a period of 4 years, where we went through some really rapid growth, and Christophe will talk about it, from about 1.5 million in sales to maybe $50 million in sales in about 4 years. Really successful story. That ultimately, recently, has ended up with an acquisition. They went public on NASDAQ a little over two years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and just recently in June of this last year, were bought by the largest orthopedics company in the world for $1 billion. So it was a very rapid, beautiful story. I don't want to take up too much time talking about it, but I'll talk a little bit about it. I think it has all the elements that we all are interested in here. A French entrepreneur company, Texas, Austin, really great idea. I mean, these guys had a fantastic technology, a really, really wonderful product. Their R&D the technology they developed in the spine, and they did medical devices for the spine, so cervical and lumbar implants. Really complicated and very, very sophisticated technologies. They had wonderful ideas, but I think what they had most was like really good people. They had a really good set of partners, really good organization, and the success story is very, very, very compelling and very interesting. So Christophe, I'd like to introduce Christophe Lavigne, who is one of the founding partners. So I promised Christophe that we would have a little bit of fun with this tonight. I mean, just informal. He said, well, do I need to do a presentation? I said, no, just come out, hang out, tell the story a little bit. So maybe we'll do that if you want to sit, or if you'd like to sit or stand, we can do that. But I think I'd just like to start and say, first of all, I think when I met Christophe, they were already building a global company, with their ideas. It wasn't a startup to speak, but I'd like to start maybe let Christophe talk about what it was like to start, as an entrepreneur in France, and then sort of kind of convert rapidly up to the time when you had this opportunity to interface with Texas.
Okay. How long do we have?
As much as we like.
So first, thanks for taking the time coming tonight. So my name is Christophe Lavigne. First, I have my story. I like to say that each story is different. So I believe that you all have your story. I don't think that I can, really give too much advice, because it worked for our company, but it may not work for your company. So what we did, and I say we because we were 3 people initially, myself and my 2 partners, we were working together for another company in France in the medical device industry. And at one point we decided to create our company because we thought that we had better ideas, that we were smarter, and we wanted to also have more control on what the company was doing. So we decided to start the company in a town called Troyes. So for the people who are not from France, it's about 2 hours drive from Paris. It's in the Champagne area. So you have Champagne. So it's a nice place, but it's a very small city. It's 50,000 people, big picture. And the reason why we decided to start our company in this town is because we were working before for a company it was located in this town. So we already had potentially access to lots of people we worked with in the past who already understood what we were doing, because we were working in the spine industry, which means help surgeons to treat some specific pathologies through a surgical act. So it's a very specific. So we started the company with 10,000 euros. So we had limited capacity. And for the first 2 years and a half, we decided to self-finance the company, which means we didn't pay ourselves. And it was not easy. I don't know, I'm sure that maybe some of you have started a company in France, or maybe they want to create a company in France. I would recommend maybe to start here first. It was very difficult for us to raise money. And the approach in France is a little bit different compared to the investor in the United States, especially when you're a young company and you have not proven, because you're just at the beginning. You have great ideas, but they ask, what's your revenue? And your revenue is 0. What do you have? Mostly nothing, but I know very well my space, and I think I can do lots of things, the usual thing. So we decided to focus in R&D for the first 2 years and a half. And we also found a way to have some money coming in the company by doing services for another company. It was a way for us to bring cash into our organization, with limited cash. And at one point, we wanted to license our product initially. We didn't want to be a big company. We wanted to focus in R&D, making sure that the product that we're designing works, and after that, license this technology to bigger companies who already had the organization. And we tried, but unfortunately, or fortunately, they didn't believe us and they didn't like our ideas. So we had two options at that point: was to do it by ourselves or to stop. And we decided to try to do it by ourselves. So we started to try to raise money, which has been very complicated. And we had to learn because we didn't have a chance to have an organization supporting us, at least at that time, in this space. So it's difficult when you learn. You learn how to negotiate with investors, knowing that it's their job. It's not. At least it was not my job initially. I learned, but it took me some time. And just to try to summarize, coming back to the United States, at one point we wanted to come to the US, and I think it's like every company in the world. The US market for us in our area, it's 65% of the business. So it's a big portion of the worldwide business opportunity, and we didn't know how to enter the US market. We had no experience internally. I was not speaking English. My two partners didn't speak at all English. So they said, you can say a few words. You do it. And so, we tried, but So we decided to hire a bank, a US bank, to help us at least to meet investors and see how people will react to our story. And we have been lucky enough to have good interaction. And we met one company specifically called Austin Venture. So Austin Venture, it was, because I think they don't exist anymore, but was a big equity firm here. And we had a chance to meet one of the founder of the company who had no experience in the medical device. He never invested in a company, especially with European or French executive. But he decided to take the risk. And this is how I discovered Austin. I had no idea on where was Austin. We had to look on a map with my wife. When they said, Austin is a great place, and we were going down. I said, wow, it's here. Okay, I got it. And when the question was, where do we start in the United States? My first, reaction was New York or San Francisco, because for most of French people, at least at that time, this is the image we had. And they invited me to come here and to visit the place, even if it was not as developed as now. It was 10 years ago when I met Dana at that time. But I really like, and my wife too, like the vibe, and the safety was a concern for us. We wanted to make sure that our kids, my son is here, and they were 7 or 9 years old. They didn't speak a word of English. So we wanted to make sure that we have good school, that we can, find everything that the family is looking for. My wife didn't speak English too, and I was speaking a little bit. So it was a big bet, but we felt very comfortable in Austin, not only on the business side, where clearly we have been able to meet lots of great people, but also on the personal side, we felt very comfortable, and we don't regret it. I have lots of friends who have been to different places, and sometimes the experience has not been the same. So, yeah, do I like Texas? Yes, I do. And when I moved, it was a time where friends on U.S. relationship were not very good. My grandmother was telling me, "Don't go to Texas; they are killing French." So he said, "No, I've seen on TV they are killing French. They want to change the name of French fries." Yeah, that's I know. Moving to the United States, and we met people also helping us, like having someone speaking French for our family, and Dana has been very, very helpful with us, but other people too. And I think that Austin has this maybe unique vibe and capacity to help people. So that's just my experience on this aspect. Did I answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so just on a side note, Christophe, before going into the spine industry, or maybe at the same time in France, is also an accomplished rock musician. Plays guitar, and just last week had a gig.
There is no link.
Yeah, very accomplished guitar. He's got a Jimmy Vine signed Stratocaster on as well in the office. So maybe the next question would be for me, and we're going to open it up for some questions too. Is like, okay, so you got to Austin, but maybe elaborate a little bit more on exactly what it was like to consider, making such a major decision like that is while the company was changing and growing, and and that seems like a really courageous sort of step, because this is before Austin. I mean, Austin since this last 10-year period has gotten to be kind of globally known for being a vibrant economy and welcoming lots of entrepreneurs, but it wasn't quite there yet in 2005. So maybe one of the first kind of startups. So what was that like?
So first, I didn't tell my wife that we are moving for a long time. I said it will be 1 year or 18 months. That was 10 years ago. And honestly, we didn't know. We didn't know what to expect. What we knew is that for the company, it was the right thing to do. So you are an entrepreneur here. I'm sure you will have this type of decision to take at one point in your life. Is what do? You know what you have to do for the company, and you know that this will have some consequences for your life and your personal life, and you have just to take the decision of what you decide to do. As soon as we decided with my wife, and she agreed with me that it was the right thing to do for the company, and based on everything we already did for the company, it was just the thing to try. We never questioned this decision, and I think, at least for us, this was the key, because the first, as you know, years have been very difficult. Coming back home with the kids who didn't speak a word, and they didn't understand what the people were asking them to do because they didn't speak English, going to school with bad grades, kids coming crying to the house, my wife not being happy, and plus the office. I mean, it was very difficult, but I think we never questioned the choice. And also, I have been lucky to have hired very good people. I'm a strong believer that you can't do things by yourself, even if we all think as entrepreneurs that we can, but at one point you can't. Especially for me, coming to a new culture, I didn't really understand the American culture at that time. I'm not sure I fully understand it today, but I understand better. But at that time I did not. I did not manage in the past US employees, and the way to manage people is, to me, it's different. I did not manage the French side as I was managing the US side. So you have to learn all these things, and it just takes some time. But hiring the right people and being just committed to our project. And the plan was after 12 and 18 months to see where the company will be. If you have delivered and if your investors are happy, everybody is happy. And if not, have some question on the table that have to be answered.
So I can attest to some of the lighthearted cultural sides. Is I had a marketing team when I came on board with them that had a couple of folks who would say like, "What does this thing about kissing us on the cheek every morning when we come to work?" I said, "That's just the way it is." And I got to be like just this fantastic. People said, "That's awesome. It's wonderful." So there was like this cultural integration that was happening, and it was we were a small group of people. It was a small company. We were in a small place, but it was good. We were doing like little French and English lessons every week with the teams and watching French movies and stuff in the break room and stuff. So there was a really lot
It was
of
more to
things.
drink French wine.
Yeah, and there was always champagne when we needed it.
Yeah, no, that's why I say that. Because they didn't speak French at all.
No, it was a lot of fun. So when did when did it here in the United States? So when was the point when it started to get really big and you were going to go public and this and that? When did that happen, and how did that change how you thought about the business and what you might be doing? Is starting from a startup and then getting to that point to where things got really big.
Yeah. So before going public, you have a long process to achieve. First, in terms of the minimum base of revenue, being sure that you can be predictable. At least in my experience, make sure that you can really because when you meet investors, they expect you to achieve what you are telling them that you will do, especially as a public company in the US, but also to have the organization, because the requirement, especially in the United States, the SEC requirements are really high, and just the cost of doing that, that's a lot. We spend a lot of money before going public. Just make sure the company will have a capacity to be managed as a public company. But the decision was based on the evolution of the company. We have been lucky enough to grow very fast. When I moved to the US, we did 0 revenue, so it was easy. At least we can only grow, but the message, And when we went public, I think we were at 85 million, something like that. And 2 years after going public, which means last year, we were at 185 million. So we had a very, very rapid growth. And because our product is so specialized, we have been able to be very predictable. We had a good control on what we were doing, and this has been very helpful to not only go public, but also after to demonstrate, quarter after quarter to our investors that we were overachieving what we said. Which, as soon as you go public, you need to hit your quarterly target. You have to, because if you don't, you will be punished. When you punish on your public, that's bad. And so before going public, the decision was really based on business evolution. What did we need in terms of financial capacity? And as you know, we have been lucky enough to go through what is called in the United States an IDE study. It's a clinical study to demonstrate that the product that you have designed, a medical device, is at least equivalent to what is available in the marketplace. But it's a very complicated process. It took us 10 years to go through this process, and we spent more than 70 million just on this clinical study. But as soon as you're approved through this process, the market is open for you. And we have been the first company with this technology being approved in the United States. So the reason why we wanted to go public was to be able to finance the launch of this technology in the United States. So we as a public company, in 2 years, we raised a little bit more than 240 million. That was to finance the growth of the company. So that's why we went public. It was really to be able to finance the growth of the company.
And what year was that?
2013,
Okay.
October.
So what was it like to work with, because I know you had French and American Texas-based investors. So how did that work as a whole, as a group, and what were their expectations?
Your wife is French, right?
Yes. That's fine.
So, you have to marry you know, people, because they have to work together, and they are coming with different, different way of doing business, also communication. So, trying to summarize, so I had a main investor in France is Rothschild. So I don't know if some of you know them. It's a big bank in Europe, and we were working with the bank with in Paris. And in the United States, we had Austin Venture. So here in Austin, we had also a PTV Science in Austin. I don't know if you know him. He's with Matt Crawford. And we had one private equity firm from California, THP. So the first board meeting with all these people, you have to make sure that they understand that they work together, not against each other, that they are not working against you, because they are your investors. We are all working together. But I would say after a year or 18 months, people start to really understand that they can bring to the table something that the others may not bring, and if you can manage this carefully and make sure you respect the susceptibility of all of them. At least for us, it has been a very efficient board. In fact, we kept the same board member for 10 years. So it has been very, very stable, which in fact is very helpful as a CEO when you have a chance to have the same board members that you know them, they know you. At least to me, it was very helpful to have this.
So I forgot to mention something at the beginning, maybe Christophe did, but Christophe also was really instrumental in helping get the French Tech dossier together. He's the sponsor for the forum for the submission, so we wanted to thank you for that. We failed to mention that at the beginning. So my last question, then we can open it up a little bit, is like, so what did it feel like, when without disclosing things that you can't, or like, I don't know how that works, but like when you got the offer to buy the company, and that's a big thing, to take something that's really dear to your heart, and then move to that next big step, and how did that?
On playing rock music.
And playing rock.
That's a big big step. Yeah.
You needed to sell it for $1 billion to go play guitar
in
downtown Austin.
Which is true. So there are things that I can't disclose, but as a public company, when you're I was the chairman of the board and president and CEO of the company. As soon as you manage a public company, you have to analyze the offer that people may make. Whether you like it or you don't, that's your job. And so my job was to first analyze the offer, try to have the best offer we can have, and after that, discuss with your board member and your investors and make sure that this makes sense. This is the right thing to do at that time, and it was part of my job. And we decided at that time that it was the right thing to do. Now, on the personal side, as a founder of the company, I'm sure you all have that. You hope about it, and I hope you will have it. When it's coming, it's always different because that's your life. I spent 16 years creating the company, and we started from scratch, and we have been very lucky to be successful. But it's like your baby. Now he's 20, so so that's difficult to explain. But yes, it's the day when you quit your company. It's weird. It's different. So you need to have something, which for me is guitar. But I think that if I didn't have guitar, you have to do something, because when you have been very busy and doing lots of things, and the day after your wife say, hey, we need to go to the market. Well, I'm not sure I will do that. But it's a transition, but doing well now.
Well, I'm sure I missed a whole lot of stuff that you guys would like to ask, so I'd like to open it up to some questions out there.
All right, thank you. Congratulations. I'd like to know the VC firms that you worked with, the investors, were any of them particularly helpful and play a role beyond handing you a check in introducing you and helping build a company?
Yes. So when I was looking for investors, I always tried to be very clear about what I was looking for. And I always told them, I am the spine expert. I don't need, you becoming a spine expert, because sometimes you have investors who like to be very involved, and maybe some of them have the capacity, but we were not looking for that. On the other side, we had no experience in financing, helping really a company going public. How do we prepare the company on the next step that we need to do internally? Having your investors helping us, you need to have some committee in place, especially when you prepare to go public. And this is where my investors have been very helpful. And also on the key strategic decision, having their experience, because they manage different businesses and they have experiences, not only at least in my field, but they had different experiences who have been helpful on also bring their relationship, because that's what I was asking them. Money is one thing. I mean, investor bring money.
That's what I'm asking.
That's the minimum. They do. But if they can bring more, which it's what also I was looking for. Relationship in the United States. Making sure they can help me to meet the right people. For example, I think about one of them was very well introduced with my competitors, and I have been able to meet the CEOs of different companies through his help, which at the end of the day has been helpful. It took time to build this relationship, but he was very helpful doing that. So yes, I was asking for, really where they have the expertise and using their relationship in the United States. Thank you.
Guillaume, nice to meet you. French, of course.
I have the same accent.
We know that.
I know.
I understand that your partners are still in France.
Yes.
And how did you manage the link between France and the US?
So when we, last year we had about 600 people, 250 in France and about 300 in the US, on the rest in other countries. But so we had a big entity in France. What we decided to do at the beginning, I told you when they said, hey, you're the only one speaking French, you go. But it was true, and we always have very clear definition on who is doing what. And I have to thank them because said you're the boss, and they never challenge that. Which when you have to manage a company, especially when you live in the United States, you don't have time to call friends. Each time you take a decision, so you need to have your partner to trust you. And we had the chance that they were trusting me, and I gave them the responsibility of the French entity. So they were responsible to manage it, and we had, at least for us, we had weekly calls, follow-up calls every week. But I think, at least for us, it worked very well, because this way each of us had, our influence zone, which I believe that, with your partner, you need to find a way for them to be able to be happy on what they do, and if they feel that they are maybe, how can I say that, not, really involved at the same level as you are, it can create some conflict. But we have been very lucky that this never happened between us until we sold the company. And we even agreed on at the end of the day, because it's another discussion you need to have at one point. If someone wants to buy your company and you have partners, if two of them say no, or you say yes, okay, what do we do? So definition of the role and making sure that the reporting is efficient, at least for us.
Hi. So from being a spine expert to an entrepreneur in France to an entrepreneur in the US to the CEO of a publicly traded company, what were your biggest learnings and maybe biggest mistakes?
And I think it's part of the process to do mistakes. I mean, if you don't, great. But it's just part of the game. So many things. Difficult to summarize, but I would say biggest mistake when we started in the United States. maybe I didn't communicate well, or I didn't explain well enough the project, because in my mind it was a long-term project. And you may have seen that in the for people who are French here, and they have hired people in the US. In the United States, people have a short-term view on project compared to France. In France, you work for a company and you work for life. I exaggerate that. People are committed very long-term. And at least for me, the people initially, not Dana, but that I hired, I had a view more short-term, so the decisions they were taking were not the one I would have done, because I had this long-term view. At one point we had this conflict, so but maybe it was me, because my English was really bad and I didn't communicate well what I wanted, and we had this miscommunication, which at one point created not a conflict, but it didn't match anymore. This is certainly a mistake I did. I did many others. And after that, I have always been very clear with my investors, with my people. I always just told them what I wanted to do on being fair with my employees. That's my philosophy. For example, they all had an office space, which I know in the US it's not common, but to me it was just the right thing to do. So I know that people loved working for us because they had their office we always try to have nice things around, not only working but having fun together. That's the thing I'm proud of, because I think people were very happy to work for LDR.
Okay, one last question.
Didier. I'll catch you here in a second.
What corporate structure did you choose first when you established, and did you change it over time?
What corporate
structure? Did you go initially with a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, or did you change over time?
Yeah, we did change. Yeah, we did change. We started with an LLC initially, and after that, in France we had an SAS corporation, and at one point we had to create one company, one entity with the headquarters in the United States to prepare going public. So raising money, we needed to have a company, one holding company in the US. That's what.
I want to make sure I caught some of the questions that we missed over here that have had their hands coming up over here. So
go ahead.
What's your next step? So.
My next step?
Yes.
So yeah, my next project is music. That's true. Yeah. I recorded an album, which, by the way, just went on iTunes 2 days ago.
Oh, no way!
Listen to it. So, Arrows to Fire, that's the name of the band.
Oh, that's
so
great.
yes, that's my next project, and I am helping also some company, French company, as an advisor for companies who are looking to enter the US market. And I have some project. I think I will have one or two, because I want to do it well, and if my experience can help, I'm happy to do it. So that's my next step.
So I saw two hands. There's one here, and then one over here a second. I wanted to go ahead and maybe get that last two questions, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you said you got this far because you had a great team.
Yes.
For those early hires, how'd you know when you had the right people? Like, how'd you know to choose the right people?
Yeah, so Kelly, I'm French, and when I came here, to hire American people was very complicated for me. So I will tell you what I thought at that time. In my mind, American people are really good in communication. And when they introduce themselves, you always have a feeling that they know everything, they know everybody. And you, wow, this guy is really good. And you meet the second one, and it's the same. And the third is the same. And in France, I didn't have this issue. The way as we have the interview is different. And when I was asking questions, my US partner was telling me, you can't ask this question. Okay. Every time I was asking a question, I said, no, you can't ask that. Question that we ask in France, just to understand more, who you are. So it was very difficult. So at one point, I just decided to believe my gut, honestly. And I just went, I feel. And when I hired my VP of sales, which was a critical position, in fact, my US partner, we had two candidates at the end, and my US partner wanted to hire one which I didn't connect with, and they didn't like the other candidate, and I really liked him, and I decided to hire him. And he went from $0 to 150 million in 7 years. Which, you know, at the end of the day, I just trust my guts. But I cannot give you a secret to hire, you know, especially if you're American.
Mhm.
So imagine if you have to go to France, you have to do the interview in French, and you have to understand,
Sorry, not
you know.
all.
So this is how it's difficult. I think for you, clearly, it's certainly easier to hire American people, I believe, compared to us, to French people. So I had also American people with me, helping me also to understand sometimes, you know, the codes behind what they were saying. But no, I don't have a trick to guarantee that. I don't.
There was one question, I think, or did we get everybody?
Let's go. One on the back.
Carlos?
Or Carlos, yeah.
Yeah, what about what different backgrounds did the founders have? Were you all engineers or just?
No, we are self-made people. We are, I mean, so on my side, I did a biomechanical degree, and after that, I did a business school. I did my military period in France. At that time, it was required. And after that, I was looking for a job, and I had my student loan to pay, and you know, as many of you maybe had. And I just, you know, took the first job people were giving me, and it was this company specialized in medical device in Spain. They were looking for their marketing and communication manager, and I went there. I had no idea what they were doing. My two other partners, Mr. D, who was our R&D vice president, he was a trucker. Can you know? Trucker? Was a trucker. Yes, I know. He's incredible.
Oh.
He's an incredible designer. And Mr. R, the company name was LDR. I was the L, Mr. D. And Mr. R, I hired him as a rep, so a long time ago. And he was the best rep I ever had, and he has nothing. I mean, no degree. So, you know, the three of us clearly, you know, didn't have what is normally seen as, you know, what you need to have to go on NASDAQ. But if you know what you do and if you work hard, I mean, we did it and we assumed who we were and who we are.
Go ahead.
But if you have done a great school, I mean, it's great. Nothing against it.
Yes.
Yes, sorry. If you have the possibility to start over the whole process again, what would you do differently? What would you change?
I would say nothing.
That's a tough question.
No, because you know it's so. Every action we did or decision we took had a consequence, which at the end of the day helped us to be who we are today and where we have been as a company. And so it's so difficult to say today, if I had done this differently, maybe I would not have ended up with the same results. So I think that the key, at least for us, for our company, we decided to, as soon as we were taking a decision, all of us, the three of us, the three partners, were just committed to it, and the message was clear to our team. We never ever fight in front of our people. Never. This was one rule we had, and we respected this rule for 16 years. Just being committed, and as soon as we decided to do something, we did it.
Right.
Okay. All right, you have other things with other people.
I think we're good. Christophe, thank
No,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
I think I'm going to Liz, you want to come over? I forgot to introduce Liz earlier. Please, Liz.
It's okay, a little bit of the word, we're all good. So I'm Liz Wiley. I'm I'm a mentor for French Tech Austin. French Tech Austin is a project of the French American Business Council of Austin, known as FABCA. So those were your two sponsors for tonight. So I want to do a quick pitch for who we are and why we're here. About 3 years ago, we started to see a critical mass of activity happening with France and Austin. Though a lot of us saw it coming, it took our consul general and some few dedicated folks that are up here to say it's time. We need one point of entry, one point of contact for the French entrepreneurs, the delegations who are coming for South by Southwest. Austin was starting to be discovered, and so it's been a great, exciting ride to see this. Membership in the French American Business Council gets you all this great info we're getting. For South by Southwest, I want to preview. We've got a great delegation coming over, 18 startups selected. Christophe was part of the jury. They're going to have a house for the startups for lodging with a French chef. There's going to be a house on Sabine Street at Palme d'Or. Pretty sure, knock on wood, that's the place. Multimedia, French Waves, I don't know if anyone's known of this. It's a great multimedia DVD. It's an incredible electronic music manifestation in multimedia and all its iterations. We've got a great team coming in from Avignon, from Marseille, film producers. It's going to be a really great time. So it's a great time to become a member and get on top of all these. You get first pick of a lot of things going on in Austin and going on and happening with France. And I think a big lesson too, I talk a lot about Austin in France to pitch the great value proposition we have. And I think a key takeaway from Christophe's talk is to be authentic and to be yourself, because all those times along the way when there was a question, what do? You trust your gut, right? And they stay true and authentic to what they are. And that's part of the value proposition, I think, of Austin. You know, Austin doesn't want to be a Silicon Valley. It doesn't want to be New York. It's growing leaps and bounds, true, but what did we start as an ecosystem? We're a city founded on musicians, hippies, you know, and rednecks and cowboys. And that group got together and they loved music and they loved hanging out and being outdoors, and that's really what created this DNA, the zeitgeist that's Austin. So I think that creates I think that's what I hope, you know, you felt when you came here, and I think that's great that we've got this, you know, nice synergy with musicians and the ecosystem and the entrepreneurial culture that we have. So thank you again for supporting French Tech Austin and for being here tonight. And that's all. And it's time to hear our here's some other the next great startups coming out of Austin that have some French roots.
Yeah. Carlos, do you want to come over?
Bonjour, y'all. All right. I can honestly say that. I grew up in San Antonio, and almost 20 years ago I moved to Paris. And I moved back here about a year and a half ago. Our company's name is DAD, that's for Digital Art on Demand. We are headquartered in Paris, and we have a three-part business, and today two are sort of centered in Paris, and we're developing the third pole in Austin. So next slide. I can give you try to be short here. So we're all about content, about digital art, essentially, and we offer the content via different platforms and different sort of hardware vehicles. It is for businesses and consumers, so we do a B2B and B2C, or the targets for marketing. So the core is video, but there's also some interactive web-based content as well, and we're getting involved in virtual reality. It's available. I mean, we're hardware agnostic, so it's on all connected devices, PC, smartphones. There's actually Apple TV that's running in the lobby here at Capital Factory, so I can give you guys a quick little demo afterwards. Okay. Well. So these are just some of the partnerships that we've done. We're pretty active globally. This is an exhibition that we coordinated at the Musée d'Art Moderne in Paris with the collective from New York. And next slide. Then we collaborated with the same group in Berlin. So this was an image for a presentation we had at the Berlin Biennial, which was this summer. Go on. And just in Miami a few months ago, we launched the virtual reality channel on our mobile platform. So as you can see, I mean, it's pretty global already, and you know, it's multi-format, it's multi-platform, so it's a pretty rich environment. So the question is always, so why do you come to Austin, considering what we do? This kind of sums it up, and this is funny. This is kind of a big mantra in Austin, but people don't really talk about it, but this is kind of a weird place with a weird history, and it's, you know, it's a very eccentric place. And in a way, I mean, we are in the digital art business, so you could almost say that we're in the business of weird. So it really makes sense here. This is the way I see the ecosystem here. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a strange place. It attracts creative people, and that makes a creative environment. Obviously, that drives innovation, and it attracts this whole startup. People that have this in their DNA, and everybody gets together. And this is very, very unique. This is something that I think is very unique to Austin. Next slide, please. I mean, an organization like South by Southwest kind of like encompasses all of these different poles. And this is, once again, something really, really unique to Austin. There's music. The restaurant business is huge here. Obviously, Whole Foods started here, and the Austin Film Society that Liz introduced me to. I mean, great people, and there's a lot going on. And obviously, there's this tech community as well. So it's at the center of all of these different activities, and it's really attractive for us to be here for that reason. I guess what we're trying to build here is a new form of entertainment, essentially. We talk about digital art, but increasingly we're talking about cultural entertainment. And with the advent of virtual reality and incredible strides in technology, we think that the entertainment industry is evolving, and that the content is going to have to evolve to keep up with that technology. So we want to be a part of this ecosystem. Actually, we want to be like the core of this ecosystem here. That that includes people that we work with in in New York in the art world, or in Los Angeles in the movie business, and keep them all working in this sort of common space here. So this is kind of our goal, is to help Austin become like a center for this new kind of entertainment, which is obviously very tech driven. Here in Austin, I mean, Liz and Christophe have been great. We work here out of Capital Factory. This was an event that we did for Performing Arts Group here in Austin. And next slide. And we're working here, and it's a just incredible environment. Practically everybody that I've met has been through this, this close-knit group of people. Well, I think that's it. Short presentation, but any quick questions? Go ahead. Or not? Yeah.
So I wanted you to talk more about that picture you showed in the next to the last slide, the event that you did here in town. So what exactly is that, and how does that represent what you do? So it's beautiful content on these screens, and it's...
Yeah. Well, most of the content is video.
Okay.
Okay. It's high definition video. It's hard to show in a presentation like this what it is exactly. I can show you out in the lobby in a minute. Essentially, they're digital animated paintings. Okay, that's the core of our offer is video. We are increasingly involved in immersive environments. We've done installations. We did one, I guess it was last week in Barcelona for the BNP in Paris. And they were, it was a little bit like this. It was more immersive. There were a group of screens that were animating these waves, these waveforms that were generated by the sponsor's data. I'm not entirely sure what data it was. I wasn't at the project. I believe it was something related to their social media. So basically, like whatever number of hits they were getting on a particular subject was generating graphics, and these graphics were projected all around them. So they are we like to call them like immersive, amazing experiences, and that sort of lends itself very naturally to virtual reality. And like I said, there's a channel where you put on the goggles and you're like in these immersive spaces, and there's somewhere between movies and games, and we're heading increasingly in that direction. Like I said, it's this new entertainment platform. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Can you explain your business model a bit?
Yeah, there are three poles to the business. One is the business-to-business model, and that is pretty much we're a creative marketing service.
So you create your content?
Yes, we do produce and distribute. Absolutely, we produce and distribute, and in this model, it's a little bit more event-based. In the production model, I mean, that's also a sort of service industry kind of model. And for the consumer model is where we're still sort of testing things out. We're still very, very early stage. We are trying microtransactions, we're trying subscription. We're looking into the possibility of having our content providers actually provide the business end of things, a little bit more like a Vimeo model compared to, say, a YouTube model. So these are the kind of, the models that we're looking at. Yeah.
Are you
feeling that VR is a better path compared to like augmented reality?
We don't know yet. I think it's really, really early stage in all of these domains. It's really, really too early to tell. And I think the things that we're going to see in 3 to 4 years are going to be very different from what we're seeing now. I think with VR, the hardware experience is a little bit clumsy right now. I mean, this, putting on the goggles and you're alienated from everyone. It's a little bit awkward, I think. My feeling right now is that augmented reality might be a little bit more comfortable for consumers and just for people that just want a cool experience but don't want to, hide behind a mask, so to speak. So we'll see. But I don't want to close my doors on video as well. Everybody's concentrating on VR and AR. But in the space where we're working, nobody has really quite cracked the code of how to exploit video in a digital art context.
Real quick follow-on. So is the VR lab and the
Yeah.
lab downstairs that help?
Oh, awesome! Absolutely, yeah. I test. I mean, I'm on Apple. Whenever I need to test anything on, an Oculus or a Samsung, I go downstairs. Those guys will load up, our content onto the different devices. I'm seeing them tomorrow. Actually, you should come.
I've seen it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Yes, that's great here. And my colleagues in Paris, they don't have a VR lab, so they kind of always have to scramble whenever they need to do, any kind of testing whatsoever. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
So, tell us about how you work with your partner in France and how do you handle the business? Is he managing the business in France and Europe and focus on the US? How do you split and how do you work?
Yeah, it depends on the activity. My business partner, he comes from a sort of, how would you describe it, I guess it's an interior design kind of background for businesses. He's done a lot of interiors for hotels and things like this. So he's essentially handling business-to-business operations. And here in the US, we're developing, with Jean-Christophe who's here, we're developing the consumer end of the business. So it's split up sort of by the different markets we're targeting. Consumer here, business-to-business in France. Okay. And as far as the production is concerned, we're starting a pilot ecosystem to produce VR in France because we're getting help from the CNC, which is the Centre National de Cinéma. I don't know how you would call it. It's kind of like the Academy here in California. Do we have an equivalent in the States? I doubt it. But they're setting up an ecosystem there between the CNC, Arte, which is the television channel, the Franco-German television channel, and the Gaîté Lyrique, which is a digital art center in Paris. And we're part of this little ecosystem to produce virtual reality content. Once we have that model sort of in place, hopefully by mid-March, then we're going to be applying that to here in the US. Okay. And that'll probably be most likely with partners in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
What you have done, if you could talk a little bit about what you have done for the Museum of Modern Art in Paris, and you said then also the Berlin Biennale,
Yeah.
Interactive.
Yeah. Well, in Berlin, there were tons of video. I mean, lots and lots and lots of video art. And so when you go to an exhibition and you spend an hour and a half there, but there's 20 hours of video, you just really can't consume it. I mean, video is a format that doesn't lend itself very well to a kind of museum-going experience. So our idea is basically it's a lot more easy to consume this kind of content if you're looking at it on your iPhone before you go to bed, or just having it turn on a loop in your living room, or we've done some business projects with their hotels, for example, and they're just sort of showing our content permanently. So we just think it's kind of a more natural way to exploit this kind of content. So we had a channel actually on our platform. We had a Berlin Biennial channel. You can still see it today. I can show you right now. And it's interesting. That was in Berlin, and that was over 3 months ago. And it'll be here in Austin or Tokyo or wherever. For as long as our contract allows us. And at the Musée d'Art Moderne, that was more of a sponsorship type relationship. We sponsored an installation. And we supplied all of the hardware and all of the technology. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm? Great, thank you.
We'll talk after.
Okay, fantastic. Jerry, do you want to come over? We'll talk about sport and technology. So I think that's another great topic for Austin. So Thierry Taupin, please go ahead. Do you want me to show the presentation that you sent me? Or?
Yeah, we will use that.
Okay.
So if you have
Okay, speaking of video, this is being live streamed at the YouTube at the address up there. So FYI, everybody. And so it'll be available here, and we'll put it on the FABCA website. So you can hear again the great things Christophe is saying, telling us. And if you want to live tweet, like I'm doing hashtag FrenchTechATX. Diffuse freely and widely.
Okay, good evening. It's very interesting. I was already with Christophe and Liz on the French tech and the FABCA, you know, like since last year, and we had the opportunity to talk about this project, and it's coming live like every day. So that's very interesting for me to. It's like for some of the people it's an update. From some of you it will be maybe completely new. So Austin Hunts, what is it? Rugby. Rugby in the US and rugby in Texas, when, you know, like we're in the country of American football. So that's something a little bit interesting, and people ask a lot about that. But rugby right now is exploding in the US. It's exploding, like it's the second biggest sport in the world right now, like with the second highest audience, you know, like also after the third after the Olympics and the World Cup in soccer. So for an example, when people watched the Rugby World Cup, the final of the Rugby World Cup, we have 144 million people watching it, when for the Super Bowl you have like 118 million. So give
wow.
a little example. I came in, and we can go slide a little bit. I came in Texas and I came in Austin 2 years ago. Rugby exploding again with this year, like the Olympic Games. We had 66 million people in 1 week on the USA Rugby website because of USA was in the Olympic Games. So I'm in the US for the last 7 years, and we believe that, you know, rugby will grow. And 2 years ago, I met some people here, and they asked me if I wanted to come to Austin to work with them on the project to develop rugby here in Austin, because like inside the numbers of like American rugby, we know that like Austin is already like a hub, you know, for rugby. There's a lot of clubs like Westlake, UT, St. Edward's University, Round Rock, and now all the kids, elementary schools start to have rugby in Austin. But not only in Austin, it's all over Texas. Houston is very big also. They had few international games the last few years. They have like Italy that they came to play. They have like last year Argentina against, you know, France, against USA. So that's something in Texas that really is growing very, very fast. So people came to me and say, can we do something in Austin? And I say, what do you have? And they say, we have a land. We have 34 acres, 15 minutes from Austin. What can we do? So I came to Austin and I look at the potential, and we say, there's no sport. Well, there's a lot of sport, but it's UT. It's only college sport. It's huge. You have 100,000 seat stadium for like a college. You go to Barca and to Barcelona, this is like the same size, you know, so give you like an example where, whoa. But there's no professional sport in Austin. There was like an attempt a few years ago with the Aztecs in soccer, but they had a little bit of problem because they couldn't find a home. They couldn't find a place to play. And also like the only place was high school stadium, but you can't sell alcohol, you can't sell beer. So it's a big problem, you know, for your market. So when I saw that we had like 34 acres almost in the center of Austin, and the people and the owner own it, we said, this is something to do. So we started to work, and we started to imagine what we can do also on the national level, what's happening. And USA, they don't have like a professional league. There's no like professional rugby league. They started something last year, but it didn't work the way that it would. But now it's growing, and there's a huge demand, a big demand on the league. So we say first, we need to have a home. Okay, we have a land. 2, we need to have a team, because we need to have people coming and make it happen. And we need to have icons. So I'll just give you some numbers already like of the team and what happened. So Austin Hunts was an amateur team. They had 105, 106 active players, which is a big number just for adults. So what we decided with this, we say like, okay, there's also a women team. So we integrate the women team. So all of a sudden we become to be 220 players. We say this college, so let's integrate. So we start to work with St. Edwards and we start to work with UT. They play actually like this weekend at our field, and I will explain what's happening this weekend. There's high school, let's work with high school. And we need to build the youth. Because the way that it was building, you know, for many years in the US, rugby, it was a sport that people, when they left college, they were looking to do something else after college. No more American football, no more baseball. So they were looking for something they go. Or it's a bunch of us, expat, we come to the US, we used to play rugby or soccer and we are looking for an activity, so we want to bring our sport. But they forget this part. They forget the bottom of the pyramid. So we started to work on the bottom of the pyramid, and this year we already launched, you know, like few, so we have a youth academy, so we have kids from U6 to U14. Right now we have 200 kids under the club, and we have 200 kids with elementary school and middle school. We do like in Decker district and all the East Austin district, because that's where we are. And we want to develop and give them an opportunity. So we send players, and we have professional players now, because this is the last one and this is where we are, that also have time during the day, so they go to train. So we start to develop. So we just signed yesterday with YMCA, and we also are developing a full system, full academy program with YMCA during the summer. So all the 8 YMCA in Austin, they can have rugby. So we are working on that right now. So this, now that we can develop a full pyramid, so we also, on the business side, if you start to have a big base with youth, when you have 415 kids, you have at least 800 pounds. So that means, you know, like, it's bringing more people on your farm. So if you have a pro team, or if you have like people, you can bring more people to buy the tickets, and it's sustainable for you, for your business. So that's what we are just did, and we are doing right now. We just launched a professional team. So we just launched a week ago a professional team in Austin. So when I say a week ago, we had the first game a week ago. We launched it like in October. If you can see this. So who we take? So this is Richard and Chris, 2 expat English people. He sold his company for 125 million a few years ago, passionate by rugby. He said, what can I do? Richard Osborne, family, when his mom launched Keller Williams. So this is also people. So they have like a backing, but they love rugby and they wanted to develop, but they didn't know. So myself, we wanted, as any sport, Beckham, whatever, if you want to launch, you know, and motivate young and youth and talk about yourself, you need to have an icon. Todd Clever is the captain of USA Rugby right now. So we took him here, and we said, Todd, we want to have you inside with us, because if we have you, you know, like everyone will look at you. Because he played for the Super Rugby, he played in Premiership in England, he played in Japan, and he's 69 caps right now, and he's playing in Austin again against Brazil in a few weeks. He's the most capped captain, you know, like a player in the US, meaning that he is like the icon of US. He's on ESPN, he's everywhere. So we took him here to be part of the project with us, but also because he attracts people with us. The last thing is we needed to bring a head coach and a team, a management team that can help us. So what we did is we choose someone. Eugeniulov used to be in rugby in South Africa. You have like a team called the Lions. It's in Super Rugby, and he was the head coach of the Super Rugby team for 11 years. So he knows what to do. But he was also like the head coach of the Springboks for the U20. So that means we didn't want to have like a diva. We wanted to have someone that can bring, and we talked with few diva, but what we wanted someone that can see the potential. And the potential in the US with players and athletes, just in general, when you see in American football, track and field, it's huge. But how we can transform this potential of like professional player. So we wanted to have someone that can help us to build that. So that's where we built this year. So this quickly, we can talk about it quickly. Just this is like, I keep it, but it's very quick, is the values. Most of the time where people come and talk about rugby, they see beer drinker, most of the time, and beer drinker, and adult. when you come to France, or where you come from France, when you have in your resume that you play rugby, you represent values that you want to have in your company. You represent sportsmanship, discipline, respect, and teamwork. That's what we are trying to educate also here locally with the kids. We want to push that. We want to show to the company that they want to invest with us, this is what they get. No more beer drinker, even we still have the third half and everything. But this is not just the value of the sport. We are trying to change this image because that's how we could be successful. So what we did now, what we try to do is to create the Austin Hans experience to the home also. So it's not only with the player, it's what we want. So we want to be world class. We want to establish the heart of rugby in America here in Austin. We want to deliver the ultimate fan experience. We want to be the champions of rugby value and culture, we talk about that. And we want also to spark the community pride. That's why we are getting involved a lot, with the local community, because if people can start to feel, and they can see a pathway in the future for their kids, that they can play rugby, and be an icon in the future, they can see where to go. Right now, they couldn't. Also set the standard for sustainability. So we just, and I will explain, we just signed with Green Sport Alliance, which is a huge marketing company. Transcend the sport, become the professional team of Austin. Intelligent and adaptable, because we are in Austin and we also need to adapt very quickly. Become the player favorite place and fuel the sport innovation. Being in Austin, that's the same. We want to be innovative. So one thing that we did we signed with Green Sport Alliance. Green Sport Alliance been created by NFL team and NBA. It's how make the sport greener. I met them at South by Southwest last year because there's something that we saw before, and when a dad shows one of his slides with South by Southwest is like, it's film, music, innovative. You forgot one. There's South by Southwest sport, and it's huge, and it's becoming the smallest one compared to yours in film and industry innovative, but it's growing. And last year, NBC was there, and it's growing very fast. So we met them over there, and they have like all this team in NBA, NFL, soccer, baseball, all the major league. They are like all part of the Green Sport Alliance, but worldwide, they didn't have one rugby team. So they signed with us, and they use us as the guinea pig now to reach international club and team in the world. And we are talking right now with World Rugby and with the French top 14 and to be part of that. So that's moving. We wanted to have like a good partner, and a good partner is like who could be like the Manchester United of soccer, for us. So we signed with Racing 92. Racing 92 won the top 14 last year. It's it's an iconic team. They just signed 2 years ago Dan Carter. So we approached them. We say, we're Austin. We have the same color. Let's work together. They say, who the heck they are? But they signed it. They signed last year, and they saw where we were going. And actually, they come next week. They come here in not the full team. I can see eyes. No, the management. They are coming because they want now to be financially involved with us. So they are looking to take maybe 20% of the full club in Austin to be partner. Two things. They also, first, because Racing and Austin could be interesting for them in the rugby world, but also they are opening behind the Arch of the Defense, one of the most famous and new iconic arena, for music, sport, film, and media. A 34 to 40,000 arena, for like the biggest screen in the world and everything. So what they want also to touch Austin and the music and the festival. They would love to work with South by Southwest or SEL and bring it directly to Paris. So that's also what they are looking, because Jackie Lorenzetti is not only in rugby, he has also the business side, and they see, like how rugby and business can work together. News, we just signed with Time Warner this week, and all the game will be on Time Warner Sport in Texas. So that's something like, so 2 million homes. So now we put even rugby on the cable. This is the schedule. We have a PR agency. This is the project. Right now, that's what we own. We own these 34 acres. We already have these 2 fields. And we work on a full project to develop like a 10,000 seat stadium that will fuel the innovation. It's not only for rugby, it will be the home of the Huns, but it's like a multi-use sport complex where you can play soccer, rugby, ultimate frisbee, whatever. But we push it for rugby with an academy, with a full street, and we can move. So that give you a better view. So we can move again.
I think the goal for you is to have a high-tech,
Yeah.
stadium.
This is very important. Is like we don't want just to have a stadium. We want to have a place where like we just also signed a new partner called Alcon DTS. So it's an IT company. They work with Cisco. They install in every hotel, restaurant, but also university and hospital all the high-tech IT technology. So you can have your Wi-Fi and everything. When you have 10,000 people in a stadium, you need to have a very strong Wi-Fi, especially now when you use not always the VR, but like augmented reality, or even people want to have everything on their phone. So all the stadium need to be connected. The way that you park, the way that you go to your stadium, the way that you receive the information, the way that your beer comes to your place and not you're going not anymore to pick it up. The way that like you don't want to choose the wrong line to go to the restroom because you have only 10 minutes for the halftime, in rugby. So you need to choose so they can tell you where to go. So that's how, we want to be innovative in this part. And this is like, we want to build outside, like a street where it could be, for partner restaurant and become a new destination. We are trying to build the rainy street of the east side Austin. So that's another view. And this is the inside. And then the way that we work on the concept. So here, if you can see, there is like a pool with cabana. There is like clubs, like if you go to a club, you want your bottle service. Why in a stadium you can't have your bottle service and have like a L shape, and be with your friend? The way that everyone experience, and especially because of the VR and everything, now you can be an amazing experience at home. Why do you want to come there? So we need to rethink the way that you sit in a stadium. Because really, like if you look at like American football game, any sport, it's amazing what you can see on TV or on your iPhone. Why do you want to go at the stadium? So we need to give another experience. So that's what we are trying and we work on. So this is very interesting. And so that was the concept. And that's where we were until December 15. December 15, I went to France and we went to meet with the Racing. And I just received a call from a company, like worldwide company, but based in France, called GL Events. So if you work in sport and entertainment, GL Events is a big company. They do all fashion shows. They work with Cannes Festival. They work with like Roland Garros. They do all the type of event. And they came to us and they said, your project is awesome, but I can tell you right now it's between 70 to 80 $million. I say, yes, that's right. So you don't need that right away. I can build a pop-up stadium just for you, and it will cost you maybe like 10 to 15 times less. And you can have the same result, at least for the beginning. So they came with an idea, and so this is one of the ideas that they did for the soccer, where they can build a stadium, full stadium, 10,000 seats in 83 days. And it's modular, so basically you use it, you're done with it, you can send it somewhere, and you can resell it the time that you want to build like a more like bigger stadium and everything. And we are talking with Austin right now, the city, that they want to build like a bigger stadium for MLS, for the soccer. So they want us to be part with the MLS because we don't have the same schedule. So we say, okay, let's see what we can do. So this is like, and we go quick on that. So this is few examples of how it could look like. So this is all the VIP area. So inside, with elevator, you have suite, you have all the seating around, you have everything. And this, it costs you way less. So the idea of GL Event now, they contact me and I was again with them on the phone this morning. They say, we want to be with you on your full project and we can design something that looks like what you wanted to do, but we do it modular. We do it, we can change it. We do it like it's full prototype. You will have all the ecosystem that you want inside with like all the internet and experience with the fan and everything, but we do it like if tomorrow you don't like it, we change it. Or you start with 3,000, you want like in the next few days to have like a 15,000, we just come and we put the new seat and everything and we change it. And we want in Austin to be, they want to create like the lab or like the prototype for everything that they will do in the future in the US. Because right now rugby is growing so fast and they want to use us as that. There's like 2,500 clubs in the US. So imagine we are one. We buy one for 5,000, but all the other clubs, all the other high school, when they will see that they want, you know, like they are super interested, we are working, and this is the last things after. On Monday and Tuesday, I was with a group, and we are creating the MLS of rugby. And we signed the paper, and it will start next year in 2018. But all these people, they don't have stadium, they want that too. So right now, we can also be an example of what we can do in the future to develop the rugby in the US.
So we're running out of time, so
yeah,
we
and
have to go to the video.
So that's it,
but
thank you.
I think it was great. You want to come? I'm go a little fast on the next one, and that will be your time, Barry. So, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Guillaume Mousset. Well, I'm quite new in the US because I moved 5 months ago to Austin. And just prior to giving you some information about my company. Why Austin? So Christophe gave some information and many French people. When you think of Texas, Texas is about a little bit bigger than France. So when you see the map of the US, where to go, where to pick up a location, and when you are in the high-tech environment, you think of course, the Valley, Silicon Valley, New York, Boston, sorry. But in terms of investment, there is no comparison between the San Francisco and here. High-tech, so the ecosystem is very nice. And also, you meet people, and the point is not to get money or investment or whatever. The purpose when you start the company, this is to go fast. And when you know people, it goes much faster than just trying to do that by yourself. So that's why we chose Austin. And this is when I pitch, I say that, but the real reason is my company comes from Angers, and Angers is a sister city of Austin, so that was really easy to come to Austin. And thanks to Liz and many people, that's how we came to Austin. Just a few information on Qowisio. So we are in the IoT space. Our business is really to accelerate and simplify the deployment of IoT solution for companies. And for that, we provide an end-to-end solution. Next slide, please. Just a quick question. When you are talking about asset tracking, you want to know if a pallet is going out of a warehouse, entering another warehouse for clients, just to bring information on temperature within buildings. You don't need much information, just a few information to send from time to time. You don't need 3G, you don't need to do VR or whatever. Just very simple information, and it has to be very low cost. But at this time, next slide, there is no solution. All the technologies, they are costly when you think of Wi-Fi, GSM. The autonomy of the devices is quite small, and when they are self-powered, and IoT projects are complicated. So you need to find a way to put in place IoT. Next slide. And really the requirements is to have low TCO, meaning that the cost over the time is very small, and the devices like this, you can just have a look. They are self-powered, and they need to last maybe a few weeks, a few months, a few years, sometimes. And you have to move fast for our clients. You cannot wait now with digitalization. So what we've done is to create a full solution, meaning that the solution comes from the devices, including the infrastructure, to communicate, and as well as the dashboards and apps in order for the clients to keep the data and see the information they collect. So this solution is based on a portfolio of devices that we have designed in-house, from security to environment. This one, the one that is going through, this is for pallet tracking. You just put on a pallet, and the cost is a few dollars. So many devices that we have I've designed for now 7 years. Then we have built a new technology for communication, where when you think of GSM, it's very costly. If you think of the cost for communicating, the cost for a communication is 10 cents per year per device, which is very low. And on top of it, next slide, sorry. So this is the new technology that is called LPWA. You can, yes, go ahead. There is a small. So if you compare to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 4G, it goes very far away. So this device, for example, in a urban area, you can communicate to a gateway that is about 2 or 3 miles away. And in rural, you can go up to 40 miles. So the communication is very low. Next slide. And the secret sauce for us, for the low TCO, this is to unblock project where the cost was blocking. So with integrating all the modules, as I said, then we can come up with a very low price for our customers. And we don't sell with subscription like any other AT&T or people who are selling M2M solutions. And this is one-shot price. Next. Qowisio, so just a few words on the company. That was created 7 years ago now in France. We work in 30 countries with many blue chip clients. I'm one of the co-founders, and we have offices in Africa, France, of course, the headquarters. And well, I just moved to open the US subsidiary to start from scratch, assuming that, as Christophe said, when you think of the best way to do business, you think obviously of the US, and you want to do something in the US. So that's the start. We start from zero. Well, we'll see what happens, but there are many good opportunities for us in the US and the rest of the world. So thank you, and well, just a great ride on the IoT world, which is a great opportunities. Thank you very much. Just one thing. I want to this is the opportunity to thank a few people here, so who helped me get installed for my visa, for many different things. So Liz, thank you so much for your help for like a year. Donovan, who is helping me on setting the company linked to the Capital Factory soft lending program. Brad, my lawyer in the US, I think that's key. So I'm just kidding, but that's really nice, and we've done a meeting this morning. And all the people who helped us, Christophe, Jean-Sébastien, Camille, maybe Guillaume as well. So thank you very much for your help, and well, thanks for your question if you have some.
Do you have any question for Guillaume? That is business, friends here.
I'm sure I'll ask a question.
Go ahead.
It looks awesome. It looks great. All of your technology, and I think we do need something that's low power and that can transmit long distances like that. And that's what that device you said you used?
Yeah, well,
it's really small and light.
This is one device among many of them. For example, I'm discussing with the Austin City to track some PCs, the personal computers, just to know the macro location in which building they are. I don't need to have a GPS position, but more if it's at least this location or this location. So it's really basic information, okay? And at this time, there are many subjects that are blocked because it's, as I said, again, it's too costly. Medical equipment to track within hospitals, to know if they are in these buildings or these buildings, just because people are losing their time to think of where is it, I need this equipment, or well, I need it quickly, so how can I do that? But because of the volume, you cannot pay a lot of money for that. So you need to have really cheap solution. And we think that our secret sauce is to really provide the entire solution, and not only part of it, the device or the connectivity, but integrating everything will make it happen very quickly.
Okay. And can you, is it like, I guess, identifying location or something in 2D, or can you do 3D yet?
No, location means, okay, this is, I put the device on, I don't know, on the computer, and I know that it's at the 16th floor in Capital Factory. I don't know exactly the location in which room, but I know that it's at that location.
Okay, awesome.
Any other questions before we move to the next one? Okay.
Thank you very much. I need my device.
Thank you. Barry, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. Hi, I'm Barry Gramada with a company called Speachme. He, I should say, lucked out with me or got unlucky with me. Our CEO, she's actually based in France. And our COO, who was going to be here, he actually is in France as well. So a day ago, I got, hey Barry, this is what you're going to go do. But probably a little bit of my background that might actually help a little bit. Out of college, I was first a state trooper in Ohio. Still got the haircut. So from there, actually, I had a couple of things happen that made me reevaluate life and, you know, what should I actually do. So I joined a startup in Youngstown, Ohio, a tech startup. So state trooper, tech startup. And it was one of those things, I trusted my gut. Even though after like the first month there, my wife, she was like, my paycheck, she's like, all right, Barry, she's like, what the hell did you do to us? You know, that whole startup thing, and I was like, hey, trust me, it's going to be good. After about 8 years, I left there when we were a little over 100 million in revenue. Moved here to Austin, and this will sort of tie in with I think why Austin. We used to come to Austin a lot for work, customers, clients, things like that. And it always felt like home. It felt good. So one day I said to my wife, we have 4 kids, and I was like, let's move to Austin. You know, I saw it as a good opportunity for myself, you know, professionally, but also for our kids. I think for them, you know, for long term, it's a good place to be. That's enough of my background. You can go to the next slide and get one more. So Speachme actually was started, and I still say this, the 2012 thing, it was one of those things where you hear companies started in a garage. Speachme was started in a garage. The first couple of years were R&D. 2015 went to the product release in France. August of 2016 is when I came on board. One of those things where CEO, she speaks French and English is halfway decent. Our COO, he's pretty good with English, but so she stays over there, and it was like, get the English-speaking guy. So that's me. I wear a lot of different hats right now. Startup, that's what I like. Maybe it's something to do with the state trooper, but whether it's cold calling into companies or it's managing partnerships or doing things like this, you just got to adapt and do it all. But you can go to the next one. Our CEO, she says it's the DNA of Austin. It's the feel of Austin. It resembles our organization. So it's not wanting to do the norm. It's wanting to do, you know, break the rules, to be innovative. So that's sort of what brought us here. You could, but the other things are the geography. Initially, they were looking at San Francisco, but then it's, again, the cost. Getting to the East Coast. Being in Texas, you have a 3-hour plane ride to the East Coast, West Coast. And talent. Since being actually in Austin myself, I've built out a couple of different sales teams and organizations, and the talent that you could pull from the 6 or so universities that are in close proximity is pretty good. So you can get talent that's fresh out of college that can do some pretty good things for you. Economics, cost, and the nice to have things, the climate, sure beats your patrol car pushing snow down the interstate. The quality of life, things to do outdoors, You know, my kids, they could play tennis, you know, year round. They're active.
Rugby.
Yeah, actually, you know, actually that's funny is because we'll actually watch rugby, and that's what I always say because my boys, they love football, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about concussion. So
We still have concussion.
you can go to the next one, and then you can go one more. Go in real quick to our. So Speachme. Speachme is founded on the belief that your employees, your customers, you know, they hold knowledge that is extremely valuable. So we're providing people the ability to take that knowledge and then share it. So one of the first people I talked to here in Austin was with the LCRA, the Lower Colorado River Authority. And he's like, Barry, he's like, perfect timing, you know, that we're talking. He's like, an employee that's been with us for 40 years just came to me and said, you know, I'm retiring in 6 months. And he said the first thought that was in his head was, what am I gonna do? You know, when he walks out the door, that 40 years of knowledge goes out the door with him. So it's being able to do that, create what we call speeches. So each one of these is like a knowledge capsule. So the employee can just come in and click on this, and you could go one more. Once they actually click on it, it's a little bit hard to see here, but as opposed to like a YouTube video, everything is broken down into short chapters. So within those chapters, if someone wanted to learn something just specific, they can go right to that section, as opposed to, you know, moving a slider through a video, different things like that. And then you can go one more. We also provide the tools to create, whether that's using your webcam, a screencast, PowerPoint, and a screencast of yourself, microphone. At the end, you could include quizzes. So if you want to confirm that, you know, learning took place, or certifications that someone could actually perform a job, a task, things like that. You got another one. And then on the back end, we provide the analytics. So you can see by timestamp who watched what, when they watched it, how much they watched, if there was a quiz involved, what was their score, and then you can go one more. And then some of these are some of the actual customers that we're touching now, but I would say that the biggest challenge for us right now is, as far as being a startup, is defining maybe the 2-3 verticals we want to go after. Because we're doing anything from Nissan in the Middle East to doing replacing owner's manuals. So if you want to see how you change a flat tire, you watch a video. You don't read about it in a book. Amazon was a cold call, but that led to their warehouse. So within their warehouse, on a piece of machinery, they'll have a QR code. And so the employee can go up with a Kindle, scan that QR code, and it'll bring up the speeches that are related to operating it safely, to maintaining it. And then tying into your conversation earlier, my brother-in-law actually is an orthopedic surgeon. And so it's another area that we really didn't even think of. He does hips and knees, and so he was saying that the first hour of his day, he sees one patient, because he's usually going over pre-op instructions. The normal hour of his day, he sees 6. So with our platform, he has the same speech he gives people, he's going to, the speech, and it ties in, so he's gonna give them an iPad, they watch that, his physician assistant comes in, asks them if they have any questions, that frees him up to go see additional clients. And then on the back end, he's trying to help me actually with Biomet, is who he gets his products from, because he sees a need there when he's in surgery, and he has the sales rep in there with him. And he used some medical words on whether there could be gap on one side or not, and you know, how do you fix that? And because we have a mobile offering as well, so in that situation, they could have access to the 30 things that could go wrong, and then be able to pull up a real quick video that would highlight how you actually correct something like that. But that's us.
Great.
Any question for Barry before we get some drink? We don't have a lot of time left. That would be great. Any questions? Go ahead.
It seems like the company's grown really fast and you have some impressive clients. Do you have any competitors or any?
Yes, in the U.S. In France, not as many. In the U.S., yes. I'm actually headed to San Diego next week for a trade show that's focused on learning and training, and 2 competitors would be there. So yeah, there's a little bit of competition, but as far as I think our offering, as far as the ease of use, having it as an all-in-one type solution as opposed to having to use a third-party application to create the video, bring it in, or like a Captivate where you would have a one resident expert maybe within your organization who has to do everything. This is designed so you can take that star employee, have them create the video, have them share their best practices, have them share what's working best. So then you free up, or you can replace the overhead of carrying extra trainers and things like that.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much. It was great. So we don't have a lot of time left. The goal was to also have some networking, so we'll use the next 10 minutes to do a little bit of networking. We are also going to get a drink afterwards, so if some of you guys want to join us, you can also do it. We'll go downstairs, and Liz is going to tell us where we will be going. This is the first event of the year, so we wanted to show the startups here in Austin. We are going to have some events at South by Southwest, so we'll keep you updated. So we hope to see you again, and we'll have more time for networking. But the goal is to have some event on an ongoing basis. We may have some theme around IoT and other technology areas. But to get started, I think it was great. And thank you very much, Christophe, and all the other entrepreneurs. It was a wonderful evening. Please have a drink and start the discussion.
Oh, merci. Reste un peu.
Ouais, je reste. Ouais, je ne vais pas rester trop longtemps. C'est ce que nous attend pour manger, mais. Non, c'était avec plaisir.
Oui, super.
Par-dessus, en plus, je connais bien le chirurgien de Pierre Bernard. C'est le chirurgien de l'équipe de France de rugby.
Je ne savais pas.
Oui. Ça peut peut-être l'aider.
Je suis connecté avec Jérôme.
Chez NXP, bon, à l'époque c'était plus mais là nous sommes retournés en Suisse.
On va aussi continuer, voilà, on va
il est né en Angleterre avec
qui n'ont pas aimé,
avec ses parents. Il adore le rugby et j'aimerais bien voir
Contre Saint-Clément, c'est 7 fois champion et le match est 3h30. Tu vas sur le website. Oui, oui, il y a un code.
At the beginning, he was responsibility.
I work for Spinal Tap, so I was a writer, I did. Yes, One's integrity sponsor, section San Antonio.
Juste 2 minutes, parce que j'ai un de mes meilleurs amis qui est chirurgien à Bordeaux. Et en fait, il est chirurgien de rugby. Si jamais tu as besoin d'avoir des contacts,
on avait la fièvre et tout. Je sais qu'on avait la fièvre.
Merci, je suis un énorme fan de rugby et de musique d'ailleurs.
C'est ce que je disais, je pense.
D'ailleurs, ce que j'ai dit en parlant de musique, ce qui est rigolo, je suis aussi sur la gauche, et là on est en contact avec un il faut marier aussi sa culture. Là, pour le coup, moi, les enfants, j'étais à Los Angeles, mes enfants ont fait partie des gens connus. Là, la dernière, c'est moi, j'ai vu le caca. Il vient la semaine prochaine. Ouais, il vient la semaine prochaine. Il vient vendredi samedi. On va essayer de venir samedi. C'est samedi? C'est très mal. T'as la carte. Ça a pas mal changé. L'intérêt, on met bon. Je sais pas si t'as du temps de parler. Si, mais samedi, j'aurai du temps. Ensuite, t'as mon numéro. Et je vais envoyer la vidéo. D'accord, je suis là qui le fait. Merci, non, ça a voilà, normalement, je suis vachement plus vite. Et comme là, je voyais, tu prends du temps pour expliquer un peu. J'avais fait la même présentation en 10 minutes lundi. Là, j'ai un peu ça partait un peu, il fallait que
j'ai pensé à deux trucs pendant ta présentation, parce que je ne l'avais pas vu. Non, si je savais que tu faisais des trucs de rugby, je ne savais pas. Et donc en fait, j'ai pensé à deux trucs. J'ai toujours une planche en fait. Non, mais c'est aussi la planche, mais pour le rugby, j'ai pensé à deux choses. J'ai organisé des réunions avec des gens avec lesquels je travaille. Deux choses pour être intéressantes. Une, qui est menée une plateforme avec l'entrée pour les coachs qui permet de suivre justement les conseils des startups dans l'art, etc. On le fait en ce moment et on a un contrat avec le Speachme and Qowisio. Ma femme connaît bien moi. Et on a bien pour le rugby. J'ai envie de présenter tous les coachs. Et moi, avec tous les coachs de l'année. Et on a rien pour le rugby. On a accès non, je ne connais pas, mais c'est pareil. Plusieurs fois. C'est pour ça travail en
Bonjour. Non, non, rien. Il a un accent, hein. Bah oui, hein. Et avant, il parlait pas un mot anglais. Bah moi, quand j'ai parlé, maintenant, on n'est pas anglais. T'as un petit accent. Ouais, voilà, t'es américain et quand t'es ici, on t'appelle le français. Je peux pas t'en débarrasser ici, et maintenant que j'écoute les authentiques. Ça fait longtemps. 17 ans aux US. 17 ans 12 ans, j'avais la famille ici. Ah oui, d'accord, oui, d'accord. Voilà. Ça fait 20 ans que je suis au Austin, 31, on avait déjeuné à l'hôtel, au restaurant L'OR. Et mon épouse est là, qui est fusionnée de ça. Première opération, Martha. Tu lui dis que tu t'es fusionné sur 17 niveaux. Il demandé il y a combien de temps. Non, elle devait être 3 fois à 4 ans. Il est repris.
Je vais changer la vie, je vais à l'entraînement voir si tout va bien. Grâce à lui, on a le match ce week-end, je rêve. Mobilité chaude dans le sexe, je viens d'apprendre que le mec il devait faire la politique pour tu vois, il faut que j'imprime des valeurs de 40 000, je vais faire c'est le thème du feu, ça. Après, la partie logistique, c'est qu'on a la partie télé, c'est bloqué, la partie logistique, c'est bloqué, la partie parking, c'est bloqué, des personnes
Nous, on travaille sur une chose, on redonne la mobilité.
On aurait aimé avoir un peu en avant et puis pouvoir skier. Là, je pense que les outils, ça dépend pas bien cher, ça part de trucs avec plus de concurrence aux États-Unis. Tous les clubs des US, c'est le gros truc de pouvoir jouer, c'est en télé pour la première fois.
Moi je danse très mal. Mais j'aime bien. Oui, voilà, quand on joue, ça va.
C'est un proto qui va arriver.
Ok, plaisir, merci.
Vous êtes championnat d'origine?
l'apprentissage à IBM aux États-Unis, en fait, dans la famille américaine, à l'origine, elle je vais mettre ça après, médical, c'est un peu les deux, ça m'intéresse.
Ma fille m'a dit on va aller
C'est encore un peu basique, mais et là vous vendez les tickets. Can you move from
I'm actually, I'm
J'étais à La Rochelle, j'ai rencontré
C'est la boîte, mais je suis sur le Qu'est-ce que ça de ce que j'ai vu. C'est des post-bags dans le lot.
Je pense que pour l'instant, il va. Le domaine n'a pas encore trouvé son c'est dommage de ne pas être malade tous les jours.
That's what I'm gonna Hier, on a été contacté le mec qui vient de bosser start-up. Aussi vite que vous, moi, la bureaucratie. La présentation, c'est différent du...
C'est un rêve, tu vois. On voulait de pouvoir aussi le faire, mais bon, après, je suis quand même bien avec ça. Je fais quand même des choses super intéressantes.
Ouais, mais je suis. Mais c'est excellent leur GL25. Mais c'est ça va bien. Ce que je voulais dire, c'est parce que en fait, moi, je demandais dans tout ça va être. Ça y est.
Non, en fait, au départ, c'est plus, on va dire, on reste ici. Pas mal en c'est italien, mais c'est en Belgique.
Pas mal, pas mal.
Lentement, on sait comment ça va.
Chili, mais en même temps,
Je suis allé vivre, je suis allé à Milan. Oui, il se trouve qu'il y a bien le vin. C'est beau, mais triste. Parce que les taux de business sont un peu ça. Non, mais l'ambiance est déjà plus ouverte. C'est pas le sud, mais c'est maintenant, on est déjà habitué à avoir beaucoup de gens, des conseils, des avocats, tout ça. Avec la banque, la filiale, très italienne, pas très ouvert au monde, mais ça, c'est vraiment la vie vraiment. Moi, je vois ma société qui est quasiment des startups. Et il y a un bon bureau, ces personnes et mon boss, il est à Lille. Il y a 2 personnes du sport, mais on est 3 ici. Et puis, je vais à Ellison, une fois par semaine, plateforme d'amélioration du son. C'est ça l'essentiel d'être le nouveau sondage de la qualité du son. Moi, je dis, je pense que ça va se faire. C'est basé sur la mais vraiment, merci.
Et en fait, le 4 février, à
qui est bien.
Et Jean-Christophe va aller chercher ma voiture. Tu sais où il y a le tourbillon, le tourbillon. Et il va chercher la voiture, je charge. Donc si tu fais le bail ok, super. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the delay. Attention, voyage. Ah, je ne savais plus du tout ce que j'avais fait.
Are you going to put this on here?
Are you sure? Maybe because Allez, push. We push. Tu vas chercher la voiture, chérie? Ah bon? Okay, thank you so much. I think we're good. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It was great. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, of course.
I took it here.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you, Zach. It was a pleasure to meet you. Maybe next